All right, Construction Simulator 22. We are live on the park job, part two. I've been digging out a couple spots here and getting all the dirt work done. Gonna jump right into digging this little spot here out. See if we can't get loaded out fairly quick. We're 40% done the job from last time. I think this is pretty much going to wrap up most of the dirt work. Then I think the park, I think there's a series, we'll have to go back and look at the job. I think there's a series of gazebos or a gazebo that gets placed in here. So it'll be dirt work and then just placing some items, crane work maybe. Should be a fairly simple job for a campaign. To get the truck set over here and kind of just work things around. I usually work by myself. I don't really do the online thing with getting other people involved. I've tried it, never have a huge amount of luck at getting things set up the way I'd like them to be set up. Trying to make some time here, digging this out fairly quick. Spent most of my last live digging, I think 2 or 3 different spots out for this park job. I usually run all my job scopes at high, which makes you do just a little bit more work. It pays out better. Gives you a little better experience, I guess, with the game. 'Trying to just get this edge here cleaned up so that way once I get in back into that circle, I'm not having to fight underneath that dump truck body. 43% here, so we're making pretty decent time. It's been mentioned in previous videos, it's a little easier to make time with the Cat 349 excavator that they offer in the game. I don't have the money for it yet, and I could rent it, but I'm just trying to get it done with this so I can make some money. It's the very next purchase I hope to be that excavator, so some of this stuff can go a little bit quicker. Sometimes it allows you to reach up in with your bucket and just kind of push some of the material around the dump body to gain some room. Truck is pretty well full here. We'll get a couple more scoops in, dump that truck. Just going to use the auto dump. I think I'm a little ways from the gravel pit. That's really not all that bad of a drive. Maybe we'll make a trip up. So I think instead of moving that truck all over the place to continue to load, I'm just going to clean up the edge of this yellow line, cut things in, and we'll pile it all closer to the truck. There really isn't much there. Pretty well got it all. Didn't really pull much out of those edges, so I guess we'll just keep working around. Want to make sure you got everything in there where you've already worked, because once you've dug back to this other yellow line where your tracks are, the only way to get back in and do anything again is to either circle all the way around and reach in, or drive back into it. And you want to try and avoid driving into where you've already worked if you can. This is at 99%. Looks like one more scoop here. We should have, yeah, there it is. So we're all done with that. Looks like we got to clear this area. So small area here from the last live where we had to rip up with the ripper on the back of the dozer there. Kind of ripped up an old compacted foundation. I think it was a road prior to this. Clear the area of the dump truck, which really hasn't got enough in it to make it worth going to the gravel pit, but let's see what our next step is. Deliver some materials. So Guess we'll jump out for a minute here and see where the material is going to land. If we auto deliver it to the job site, it's going to end up out here. Oh, I already have. That's right. I got the crane. No, I haven't got a crane set up. I guess I can reach over the top of that with the excavator without having to track down the road, and we'll just place things with the excavator until we need to put a crane in. But I don't even see a crane pad on this job site, so it may not have to. We're looking for a pallet of concrete bags, pallet of concrete framework, pallet of PVC pipes, and a rebar mesh. I know there is a pile of saplings over here, so we'll have to kind of work around. I think that's a bag of concrete right there in the front. I guess let's pull it up over. It seems if we watch that highlighted blue area in the back, as we click it, it turns a light blue. It's kind of hard to see, but confirms we have got the right item. Rebar mesh is always a lot bigger of a palletized unit, so it's pretty easy to pick out. But we're kind of stuck looking over the fence here, or we might have to run around and see what we got if we want to stick to the POV. I try not to use the other views, but let's see what we got around the corner here. So that rebar mesh is what we're looking for. That's the closest to us. So there's our rebar mesh. Now we'll be lacking the pallet of PVC pipes and the pallet of concrete framework, which I can see the framework from here. I think those last two items, other than the saplings, are the only two items we need, so we'll reach out and just grab one. It doesn't matter which one. That seems to be our pallet of concrete framework. Spin that into place there. We just gotta grab that one last hook. That should get us to 50%, if not more, of the park job. This is the first campaign in series of one of the, I don't know, there's 4 different series of campaigns. And usually the very first one is a pretty simple job. It still pays well. I believe this one was paying 3 or 4 million. It gets paid out in phases. So I'm not sure they'll consider this a phase, but basically as we set this down, it'll advance us to the next level. Yeah, we didn't get paid anything for that. Might get paid for setting these pipes in, though. And I guess we're not getting paid for that either. Well, I still gotta clear the area. Still no pay. Let's see if we unpack this material. Or concrete. So I don't have any concrete trucks in my vehicle fleet. So I'm going to have to rent. Let's check my upgrade levels real quick. 50,000. Mechanic 1 stored construction machines are automatically repaired 2% faster per minute and refueled 4% faster, which doesn't seem overly worth it. You also get 5% discount on vehicle dealer. That's kind of worth it. What have I got for money? I'm gonna wait. Let's fast travel and rent the. I'm gonna start with just a concrete truck. I don't think I need. Actually, they updated since the last time I played. It's been a while, obviously, but they have a pump truck and a tank all in one here. Where is it? Right here, I think. Yeah, that'll work. Let's rent this. Where is my job site? Guess that's not a bad drive. We'll buzz over there real quick, get a quick view of town. Save us the fast travel fee if we can find the exit to this parking lot here. Map was trying to guide me to the gravel pits. Theoretically, I should go there and fill this thing up with concrete, but I'm just going to use the autofill feature. Once I get to the job site, it shouldn't take much more than one fill up to do what little bit of concrete work there is there. No traffic, no pedestrians. Just makes traveling a little easier. So none of those small pieces there paid out. As I was saying, it pays out in phases, but I'm assuming after this concrete work it might. That's basically the way it does work when you get paid out in this game. Is it's you do a little bit of work and it pays. You can actually show it in jobs. Well, no. I guess yeah. Every bit of this construction preparation. Once we're done, this and the topsoil removal. This whole section will pay out a certain percentage, maybe 100 and I guess I've already made 198,700 of the 264,500 that you can earn from this step of construction preparation, which is completing flatten, ripping, excavation, materials delivery, component placement, unpacking, concrete, and topsoil removal. As soon as the topsoil removal is complete, you end up getting the full pay of the 264,500. Then you move on to landscaping, the smallest here pays out 103,400, so on and so forth. Still got a bunch of question marks here on the map, which is basically undiscovered area. 90% of them are all just fuel areas. We'll roll in here so it discovers it, but I don't need any fuel. All right, rolling up to the job site here on our left. We'll, I guess we can drive in because we have got the pump truck. We'll fill this thing up quick. And then once we, I guess now that we're here, we'll get into the exterior view and see. I haven't really used these trucks in the game all that much, so I'm not sure how they operate, but I guess it looks like you can still use the chute. But I'd like to be able to do this without backing right into the hole. Let's see if we pour on off. Doesn't seem to be an option. Oh, it is there though. So we'll just spin this back and forth enough to fill that area as much as we can. Drive forward with the last little bit. The shutter pouring back off. Try and tuck ourselves back into another spot here where we can essentially do the same thing without having to drive ourselves right into the hole. I think right here will wrap us right up to 100%. It should. Well, maybe it won't. There we go. Almost had to creep into it a little bit. Alright, so now it looks like we're going to have to clear the site of every piece of equipment they got out here. They're wanting the whole entire site cleared out, so see if I can't not drive into a hole. Get this thing out onto the road. Drive up and give enough room, get that dump truck out here and park that behind it. And I think I'm going to try and track the excavator off into the woods out behind the job site. I think there's a little opening. I have to check and see if there's even a hole in the gate. And that's an excavator right there. There is a hole right there, so I should be able to drive the excavator through there. Guess we'll do that first so I can get it out of the way of the exit to the job site here. Oops, I'm already in this view. I don't think we'll have to tuck back far enough here or we'll disturb much of anything. So we can kick the track sideways. That puts us out of the job site. Now we've got room to get the truck out of here. And then we have the dozer as well, which we might be able to set right back there with the excavator and keep from setting it out here on the main road. So we'll set this here. Of course, I didn't really leave much room. We got 2 trees right there. So I think our best bet will be to oh, I guess it doesn't like that. Well, we set here. I should leave plenty. Still showing me on the jobs. There we go. Alright, now we've got remove topsoil, which we tried to do earlier in this one with the dozer and had no luck, so I guess there's plenty of dirt work in this one. Looks like we kind of got a little racetrack all the way around here, so I'll probably not load this material out. We'll just set it off to the outside and let the game take care of it after. I already feel like this is going to take a long time to go around this whole entire area here. I think for what it's worth, I'm going to try to get the dozer. I think it's going to be hours trying to strip this with an excavator. Unless, of course, I had that Cat 349, but I don't. I'm not to cost myself any more money than I need to. So I guess we'll set right down and kind of start working ourselves from the inside edge. Work the dirt to the outside. And take it nice and slow. Seems the faster you go, the more it just rides right over the top of the material. I think in the end of this we're going to have to drop that ripper blade back down to try and cut some of this material. I'm not sure why they simulate it as being such rock hard material that you can't even cut through it. We're pretty much a full lap around Blade's pretty much covering most of the area we got to cut, and I'm only 3% of removed topsoil. Of course, some of this berm sets up there. This will probably get rid of a little bit more as we kick this back a little bit. Just kind of winging the edge back, trying to expose a little bit more of that yellow edge line. Covering up some of these lawn chairs there. Yeah, 17%, so we're definitely getting a little bit more out of that. I think a lot of that material we just pushed all windrowed off to the left and didn't really get rid of it. You can still see we're just about another full lap around getting rid of that windrow, and I'm still only at 40%. Obviously still got some material, and it's not that I'm not wide enough because I'm really winging it out quite wide. We're getting into the night hours here. We'll see if we can get some more work lights on. Nope, I already had them on. Okay, so construction view shows us we're just getting into the yellow, a little bit of green going on over there, so we're just starting to touch where they want us to be. So again, it kind of simulates that this material is so hard that we're not able to just cut it. So we'll drop this ripper blade, and I don't know. I guess we'll drop the blade just to say we did. I don't know if we're going to really do much more damage till we send that ripper blade around, but we'll at least drop it down and wing some of this to the right. Try and open it up here on this corner. I did cut it close here. I'm still cutting it. I can probably widen that up next run around. Get too much, I'm going to fill that blade up and it's going to kick back out into the center, and I won't be really mounting to a huge amount. Slow things up a little bit. I'm tracking extremely fast. Now we're coming back around into where we've already previously ripped, so this should pull the material up just a little bit easier this time. We'll really slow down, continue to let that digger, the ripper, dig in behind us. Try and work this corner back in a little bit harder than we have. Once we make it around one more lap and get back to kind of where we started, we'll wing the opposite way. Keep the ripper down. We'll run a line outside with the ripper down. We're getting 57%, so we're gaining, but we're not gaining much. Seems my dogs just want to go in and out, in and out. Alright, so that puts us 58%, getting a little extra out of there than I need to. 59. Now I'm going to change this, so I'm starting to wing to the outside now, and we'll work our way to the opposite side and run the ripper down through the other way, burying those lawn chairs, those poor lawn chairs. 61%, so we're obviously making a little bit more progress with that ripper down. 70%. I think I'm going to come around one more time in the same area. I think I did the inside twice. We'll bury these lawn chairs a little more. And see where one more lap gets us. If we can at least get to 75%, we'll get out and take another look at the construction view. Pretty much lost track of where the yellow lines were and just going off windrows at this point. I think the yellow lines get buried in the windrows. Probably if I cut it back a little further, I might expose them, but I think we're just going to have to continue to make laps. I don't know of any other way to do this. Every time I've played the game through, it seems this is always a struggle. That puts us 76%. We'll jump out here. We can see we're obviously making some progress. We got a nice little racetrack. We got a lot more green. We're plenty outside with our windrows there. But I think I'm going to, I don't know, I guess we'll pick the ripper up real quick. We'll try and make a nice couple clean passes around and see if we can clean it up or if it just still needs to be ripped. Quick jump to 77%. I thought we were making some killer progress, and it just all came to an end. I think we're going to have to drop those rippers back down and just continue to make our passes with it down. So I'm going to go ahead and stop now, drop that back down. Continue our pass on the inside. I guess as I move along, the only other thing I'm going to double check is to make sure that my corners and all the ends of my stretches I've got past the marks that they're looking for. Looks like right there I have a little bit of that windrow on the left outside edge that's still in the red and it's inclining, so that means I've got some of that windrow that's still going to be worked out. So when we make our outside cut, we'll have to widen a little bit there. We'll widen it a little bit here. Nice shot. Whoops. Nice shot here. This corner. Looks like we still got a lot of red on the edges, so I think I'm just going to start working it out a little bit further than I need to try and make some of that work. I think we gained 2%. Check this corner. Same thing, red on the outside edges, a lot of it right there on my left side in that windrow. So I think we got to work the outside windrow out quite a bit. You know, cover those lawn chairs up a little more. Working in the construction mode here, it's a little bit difficult to see what you're doing, but you can kind of see as I roll over that windrow how it's flattening it out. I think that's a lot of what they're looking for here, is just to widen that out. Make one more pass around the inside edge here, and then we'll hit the outside and cut that windrow back a little bit. I think that'll get us at least into the 90th percentile. I think it's just a matter of cutting around, round and round. Alright, we'll wing this way. Whoops. Lean those lawn chairs out. Can't really cut that back any further, obviously. Strongest lawn chairs I've ever seen. Bend the blade on a dozer. That back pretty near right to the fence. Can't get much further than that. We're at 88%, so we're getting closer. '89. If anybody's had any better luck doing this any other way, I think the only other way I can think of is the Cat 349 and just walking your way back through the track and digging it down all in one shot, because it hates to doze. I'm going to take a quick walk around in construction mode here and see. The edges are pretty flat. A little bit right there. It's definitely just around the edges. Debating if it's worth just walking around with that excavator and cleaning the edges, or if I just continue to do what I'm doing for the last 10%. That's seemingly dragging out brutally. I think I still have the ripper down. It is. Trying to slow my speed up a little bit and see if that helps with anything. .3%. I think I'm going to spin to the inside. I don't really want to wing all that out though. Boy almighty. Probably only going to make another couple laps around here, and if I don't gain any more than a couple percent, I think I'm going to start walking around the excavator and just digging up some of the deeper red spots. Try and gain my last few percent. Yeah, Ripper blade down, Dozer blade down. I've made numerous laps around here. I am at 97%, so it's so close it's not even funny, but I think I'm going to jump into the excavator and just try and peel up some of that bigger amounts of stuff. I think there's a good chunk here. It's easier to see now that daylight's coming about, or some of it is, but even at that, it's still not gaining any percent. So let's leave this here. Quickly check construction view. See, oh, because I'm way outside. I think we'll just work this corner, and we'll, anywhere where we see some red, we'll just work it back a little bit and continue to get that last couple percent. Start right about right here where the red started. Just clean this edge up. I'm not sure why that dozer wouldn't push this stuff out, but this is at a pretty quick 98%. That's all nice and green. A little bit there still in the windrow. We'll cut that windrow back just a touch. Push it back there. I'm not sure if I reached out far enough to push it back the way I wanted to. Yeah, it's pretty close. Alright, track back down. A little bit through here. We'll just reach out as far as we can. Pull one swipe up across the edge. It's most of that. Got a little bit up here. Might as well hit it. We're this close. Good chunk of it right through here. Puts us at 99%. One more good spot up here on the corner will get us that 100 we're looking for. Looks like there's a good chunk up there on the berm if I really want to track up there, but I think a good swipe right here will do. Wow. I guess we'll track up there. There it is. Alright, I'm going to get these two pieces off of our circle. And that's the end of remove topsoil, which was the end of our list. So once I remove this dozer off of here, we should get paid for this phase. Which I think was almost $250,000, 250,000-ish, somewhere around there. Work these back off into the backside here where we did before. A little tight for a couple pieces of equipment, but maybe bringing this in first. Oh, wow, I still have my ripper tooth down. Rookie mistake. Leave our blade up. Plenty of room to get the excavator out here. Although it still says my dozer is on the job site and that my ripper tooth is down, and I'm quite positive it's up. Alright, deliver and spread gravel. Run back over and grab the dump truck, and we're going to go around that whole entire area again. So definitely won't waste time with heading to the gravel pit. I'll just autofill. I think kind of lesson learned from last job site. It takes a little more than you would think to push out to make the deliver and spread gravel to 100%. Why have I only got that little bit? Oh, because I had topsoil, so I need to empty that first. Gravel. They probably told me that. I didn't pay attention. I guess we'll probably start dumping on the backside so we can continue to drive in right there and not be driving over where we just worked. We'll work from the very back side of the circle and work our way right back around to the entrance. Just using that yellow gauge on the bottom right to tell when I'm dumping and how much material's in the bed as I work my way around real slow. I think I'm going to set my body down and work my way from where I started. I'm going to work back around to this corner so I can drive right out. Goes back right up to here and pour one last load in between here and where we just left off. We can drive right out to the main road from there. See if at 71%, push enough of it around gently with the dozer and get us to 100%. And we have to add a little bit more gravel in. Alright, back to an area we're all too familiar with. Gently just set the blade in enough to start smearing this around. Work the dozer up onto the pad. It's definitely not spreading out a huge amount. But I think as we work our way through, it should kick some of it to the outside edge. We're already filled into 85%. Just setting my blade down enough to see it flatten the gravel out in front of me. I don't want to dig down too much. It starts to, you'll end up digging right through the gravel into your subgrade. Just a little on the corner there. .96% already, so it's quite obvious we probably won't even make it all the way around here before this will be considered spread out and leveled. Right there, 100%. Really feel like overachieving. You can just continue to spread. We'll work our way off and set off to the side here. I think that's going to get us to compacting. Still deliver and spread sand. Where do we need sand? I guess it will be to fill in this area. So load the dump truck with sand and we'll bag back in there. I think our best bet for that is just going to be to dump the sand into the hole and then probably grab the excavator and just push it around a little bit. I guess you could grab the dozer and just level it off that way too. So I'm just going to set a few fairly large piles of sand right in the middle of it so we can push it around, move it around. Work our way up there. We'll try and come down the edges too and lay a little bit more. At least finish unloading this truck, and then before I fill up with any more sand, we'll just see where that pushes out to. Pretty much sitting a little more than 3/4 of the way there already, so I can't imagine with what we've got piled in the center, we can't push around and bring it to 100%, or at least very close. I think I'm going to push it with the dozer, just push right down the center, widen it out a little bit, and then we'll just continue to wing it left and right and fill in the circle. Get this dozer blade level with the grade above it, because that's basically, I think, what they're going to be looking for, not much higher. And then come right into the sand. Set us down a little bit, so I'm going to bring the blade out. It's bringing us down quite a bit, so we'll bring the blade up a little bit, counteract for it. As we come in and level off, we'll have to bring it back down. We'll just go nice and slow. I guess that's easy enough. It's already done. So we obviously didn't have to push all that much around. Get the dozer parked outside of the circle, and it looks like I parked the dump truck right in the area we need to be out of. So that clears that up. Now we're into excavating pits. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So that stage paid $103,400. And that puts us at 66% down on the entire park. I'm not sure, but maybe that's just the way. Yeah, I guess it's just a walking path. Maybe it sets up the slide after. I don't think you put that in. So it might be just a matter of planting these trees in here. And then we might be done. This bucket is a little overkill for these tiny little squares, but we'll dig in nice and slow and just do the best we can. Boom, 100%. Set our material to the side. Shouldn't take but just a moment to walk right around here and open all these holes up. Probably more of an appropriate job for the Mini. Seems they've removed all of our perimeter fencing, so I can pretty easily get to those saplings once I dig these two out. There's only one more. Boy, it's going to be close. Probably on the opposite side of the job site. I'll try to carry. It won't let me place them yet, but I'll try and carry a couple of those saplings and at least set them close to their piles. So when I come walking back around, all I got to do is set them in. In fact, I don't know, I've never tried it, but I think if you lay this right in the hole where it belongs, it may just click right into place. When we hit the next step, it's going to ask for them to be placed here. So I'm kind of just jumping ahead a little bit, which usually the game doesn't care for it, and sometimes it glitches some things out, but, you know, we'll try it. Try with just these couple. I can get it to stand up in there. We'll track our way over and get to the one last hole, which I'm thinking is going to be way out by the dozer, I hope. Okay. Oh, right there. Guess there should be no problem tracking on top of the sand. That should put us putting our saplings in place, which it looks like they're already in place, obviously, because we put them there. They're not accepting yet because we got to hook them and unhook them. It won't automatically pick them up. So if we simply go beep, 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 no, we got to come back out of it, back in. There we go. Just out of the blue highlighted area and then right back down into it. This part will be a little bit monotonous, but basically we're going to have to swing our way around the entire park, one tree at a time. Trying to always travel around with the bucket tucked in somewhat close. See a lot of people tracking around. They got buckets swinging way up around like this and driving into trees and flipping over. It's a lot easier to travel around, just keep it tucked in close. Don't really have to worry about it. A lot of times when you track around with it way up high like this, if you're running in telephone wires or anything, tree branches above you, most of these job sites on this game are set up where you don't have to worry about anything above you. But it's not always ruled out. Get this tree here set. That'll leave us with one more sapling that was over behind that dump truck. Sitting at 82% done the job right now. I think this tree might gain us 83%. Maybe 84% with our one last tree, if not a little more. And then I think the only thing we're going to have is speaking to the big boss of the job, whoever it might be on this round. And that should complete this park job. I'll end up ending this live and I always start another live for every new job I do. Try and break up the titles of the lives as they go on YouTube. I go live on Twitch for now and then upload them to YouTube later, but I try and label them all per job, so that way if you're ever looking through trying to figure anything out with a job, I try and do most of this as realistic-ish. It's still a game, it's still a simulator, but try and do things the way the game intends it to be done. Try not to swing things too crazy. I'm not going to be found doing backflips off of dirt piles with anything. I try and run through every single job the way it's intended to be run through. I don't skip unless I absolutely have to. I try and use POV for everything I can. Obviously, when you're doing some of the concrete work, or if you're really getting meticulous with dozer work, you can't really feel the pressure that's sitting in behind a dozer blade. So you gotta do some exterior view for some of this stuff, but try and use POV when I can. Job scope's always set to high, so I do as much of the job as it'll allow me to. Splitting some of these jobs up into part 1, 2, and 3, but labeling them the same so they're easy to find. And that is my last and final sapling. Let's see, it's looking to have us clear the site. I think I got some room over here in the woods. We're coming to an end. I'm going to try and set them off into the woods, but also on the side of the road, so that way when it comes to coming back and reloading this equipment to bring to a new job, it's fairly easy to access. So there's that one off the edge. Dozer's already close. Get the dump truck out of here. I think renting that dump truck, so I probably ought to get rid of that as we work our way into 1946 hour military time. I think 20 or 21 hours, somewhere around that area. Maybe a little later. It gets dark on this game. 34,300 to complete that stage. Speak with the environmental officer, who is the head cheese of this one.
The abandoned building was like a foreign object in our park. From now on, families and pedestrians can take carefree strolls and relax anywhere they want. But it's not just the residents who are happy to see change. Newspapers are already reporting about the restful green space on the riverbank.
Beautiful. Glad we can make her happy. Job's completed. I've got my stuff staged over there, close enough for the roadside where it's easy to pick up, not buried behind the park. I'll end up taking the dump truck back to the shop, get everything else delivered back, and get another job set up for another live at another date. Alright, see you on the next one.